Right before she died of a drug overdose, I had no idea she was taking drugs.
It gets you addicted. I mean, I started out like any drug, just doing it once a week. Then it became twice a week. Then it became almost every night smoking a little bit. Then it became waking up with it, doing it all day long.
I didn't get to see my daughter, but her dad did.
He was a heroin addict. He, had struggled with heroin for a long time, but he had been clean for a year.
I'm just thinking to myself, like, God, why? Why did you drive?
I looked to the left and I saw like this white truck, and I couldn't say no. I said, I go, oh Jesus, like that, and it hit us.
You will be convicted of a felony if you're caught selling this stuff.
And what you don't really realize is that you're putting your life in danger and everybody else around you in danger, and it's just not worth it.
It was 8 minutes from the time the officer left, and that my daughter was killed.
Broke my back at T12, severed my spinal cord, had a punctured lung, a torn diaphragm, and several broken ribs, and that's what left me paralyzed at the waist, and you got a speeding ticket. That's it.
Hi, folks. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate you being here after the premiere of a story in our Cannabis-Induced Psychosis series. There is really a deep dive into the science behind cannabis-induced psychosis, and it's the first of a three-part story, a three-part presentation with Dr. Antley, who shares her experience and her insights. There's several other physicians that we have had in stories on our channel, and several others that we'll be talking to over the next couple of months. It's really just a matter of finding the time to do all of that and balance our time between stories related to cannabis-induced psychosis, addiction recovery, human trafficking, and fentanyl poisoning, and in other topics as well. But regardless, thank you all for being here. It seems like everyone is kind of quiet right now. Do we have any usual suspects that are here from other live events that we have that we have done over the last month or two? So who's here? It is an interesting topic, cannabis-induced psychosis. It really polarizes people. It's been fascinating for us to watch the way people react, perhaps as we do this deep dive on our channel. We can sometimes share with you folks some of the more entertaining and, I don't know how you would describe it, I suppose, less intellectual yet profoundly passionate comments that we've received from some people on Facebook and, of course, here on YouTube as well. Thank you, Toke Up the Truth. I have seen your messages before and seen your thumbnail before, and makes things pretty clear where you're at in this whole discussion. Who else is here? Who else is here who is interested in sharing their perspective? We'd love to hear from some people who are adamant about defending cannabis. The truth. Yes, the truth. So let me see what kind of messages I can find from our Facebook channel. So one guy, his name is Jimmy. Jimmy said, F you. You are dumb. It does not. Meaning cannabis doesn't cause psychosis is what I take that to mean. Now, then Jimmy said, I haven't went psycho. And I said, that's great. Only about 10% ever do. And then Jimmy said, people don't get psychotic until someone like you. And that's the whole comment right there. So I don't really know what to make of that, but that's what he said. So I'm going to invite him to join the live event. My guys, holy cow, that is just exactly the kind of intellectual debate we are looking for, isn't it? I see my mom is here, and she says it's great that she's done a lot of research. And yes, Catherine, Dr. Antley has done a lot of research. She's quite an expert, and we do have several other experts that are doctors that are in some of the stories in our series about cannabis-induced psychosis. It's very insightful. You guys might also find it interesting to know that we are also working on stories about the medicinal use of cannabis. And when I say the medicinal use of cannabis, I mean legitimate medicinal use. As in a family that had a 2.5-year-old daughter who's discovered to have a brain tumor about the size of a baseball. And the parents were told by doctors that she had at most 3 months to live. And they did manage to find a surgeon at St. Jude's Hospital in Tennessee that would do the surgery, and he did manage to get most of the tumor. And then they started treating what was left of the tumor with cannabis oil. And she's 10 years old now. She's cancer-free. And there's a lot more to the story than that. A lot of trial and error kind of things, not really related to cannabis, but related to other treatments to manage the what remained of the tumor that was in her brain. But 10 years old, cancer-free. We met 2 other children on the same trip to Tennessee, Gatlinburg, Tennessee, that has similar experiences, and we interviewed all of them, and we are working on their stories now. Talk Up the Truth says lots of lifetime alcoholics have sclerosis. Lots of lifetime 3-pack-a-day cigarette smokers have never have lung cancer. Do not negate the real risk. And the real risks are certainly substantial. There are tons of people who leap to the defense. Brad. Hey, Brad, you should be in D.C. Hello, Kimberly. Welcome. Welcome. Glad you're here. Appreciate you being here. We're down to only 7 viewers right now, and so that's not great. I've been inviting people who have been quick to comment in response to our promotion on Facebook about the premiere tonight. They're quick to respond there, but I guess, you know, they're not ready to do something live, I guess. Oh no, he did respond. He said, "Nah, I don't like liars." I don't know what that sentence means. Nah, I'm the contraction of I am, I apostrophe M. Nah, I don't like liars. Don't really know what that's supposed to mean, but anyway, Kristen is here. Everybody needs to try the maple syrup concoction. 1 tablespoon of Bob's baking soda and 3 tablespoons organic maple syrup. Saute for 4 minutes on low in stainless steel pan. Kristen, I don't know what to do with that. No worries, Kimberly. There'll be plenty of opportunity to watch the videos. There's going to be a series of 3. This is just the first one. You can watch that anytime. And the second one, I want to say there's a premiere for the second one, 4 o'clock tomorrow, 4 o'clock Central Time tomorrow. Brad says, so when are you coming through Oklahoma City? I don't know, Brad. I'm game to come. It was a wonderful time last time. Got to see you guys and got to meet Brenda and a bunch of other people. It was a very cool experience, and would love to come back. Just need to figure out how to make it happen. So I just it's fascinating. I suppose it's not really appropriate for me to find so much entertainment in the responses that we sometimes get from adamant cannabis defenders. There's a lot of people out there that are cannabis users who feel like being a user somehow makes them an expert on cannabis. And I don't know. I use a watch. That doesn't make me an expert on watches. I use a car. That doesn't mean I'm an expert on cars. I've used a car since I was 15 years old. I'm 63. By that logic, I ought to know a lot about cars. I really don't. So I don't follow the logic, but there's so many people who think they have everything figured out. because they use cannabis, and it's never happened to them, so it couldn't be happening to anybody else. And that makes sense to them. Kristen, so tell me about this maple syrup concoction. I know Brad asks about recipes a lot, so maybe Brad will have some sort of takeaway. April and Pastor is going to be coming to Memphis. April Smith? And Pastor. Do we know Pastor? Is that a pastor who's been part of the chat? Or someone else? Am I forgetting? Am I missing something here? I don't know. Ah. We do a fascinating. Some of the responses have been self-cleaning type. Look, it's right here. It's right here. Same one. I haven't washed it in months. Seems good. But that's why the coffee mugs are so expensive. They're self-cleaning. As long as you just drink black coffee, they're fine. Interesting. And Kristen, is that supposed to help? It sounds good. Hello, Carla. Glad to see you here. Sorry you guys didn't make it to DC. Obviously, I didn't make it to DC either, but holy cow, I spent a lot of time on the road over the last few weeks, and so I just couldn't bring myself to doing that. Seems like it was a really good event, judging by all of the Facebook posts and other social media stuff that I saw. I'm sorry I missed it. So, holy cow, some of the messages that we get. I really would love to reach out to these people, but I don't know. I don't know how to respond to like that, whatever that last sentence was from Jimmy, nah, I don't like liars. So, Katy, Texas. Poodle Mom. Well, thank you for joining us. Carlos says, Dad, you should go visit Glenn in Houston. Yeah, Brad, you should. we'll have a great time. We can probably put in a ramp so, you can get right in the house and join us and all that. But have a good time. Brad and Carla, both of y'all ought to come. Poodle Mom, thank you very much. I think Brenda tends to show up. Ta-da! And here she is. And I think that she will just pop in sometime very soon. And so, Poodle Mom, you're new. I think I would remember that name. And I would remember that you're in Katy. And we're in Houston. We're down around Clear Lake area, so not particularly far away. So you said that you love our channel and totally appreciate that, Poodle Mom. And is there a topic on our channel that is a particular interest to you, or a topic that you might have a stake in, or anything like that? How did you come to find us and stay with us? How did that happen? And Brad asks, how do you keep that youthful look about you? It's your vision, Brad. That's it. It's your vision. It's your vision. It's not me looking youthful. It's your vision going like what happens to old guys. That's it. Who else is here? I was really hoping some of the people who have such impassioned arguments based on a promotional post alone. I was hoping some of them would be here to share their perspectives so that we could have some open dialogue. But I guess not. I guess not. I don't know. I see a little, there's always, thank you, Texas Pictures, for bringing the truth to light on CIP. Well, thank you. I don't know how many people view it as the truth. Poodle Mom, I'm not new, but recently changed Poodle Mom I watch because I have an alcoholic daughter and nephew. I've watched all the series on fentanyl. My college education is in nursing, and I'm retired. Well, thank you very much for being here. There is, you probably know, we have a series of addiction recovery stories. And in the addiction recovery stories, there's also stories about AA that are from an interview that we did with a former White House drug czar who has great things to say about the value of AA. Carla, right now we don't have plans that are going to bring us through Oklahoma City, but our plans change often. And so it can happen anytime. And certainly want to get back to Oklahoma City. See you guys, see Brenda again, see whoever else we can see. It's a nice central, middle of the country kind of location where we can do another lunch somewhere and all that cool stuff. I think that would be a great time. So on our Facebook channel, our messenger for Texas Pictures is getting quite a few messages from people who are responding to the promotion, which is a thumbnail and a description. If I can, here we go. It says a new story in our Cannabis-Induced Psychosis series premieres today on our YouTube channel at 7 o'clock Central Time. Join us for the chat during the premiere of this deep dive into what the science says about CIP, Cannabis-Induced Psychosis, and for the live event that will follow, which is this. And so, from that, just that, there's no commitment to one side or the other in that the promotion that people are responding to on Facebook. There's nothing in the post that says psychosis is real or not real. But people responded concluding, when I say people, a few very outspoken cannabis defenders responded that way. And so, and just concluded, I guess, And so we get comments like, F you, you're dumb, it does not. Poodle Mom says, my son-in-law is an Afghanistan Iraqi Marine vet who has severe PTSD and is fully disabled. He uses cannabis for his PTSD. Well, we'd love to do a story featuring him. It's a very simple process. Carla and Brad can tell you what the process is like. I don't know if there's any other storytellers that are in the room right now, but it's not a confrontational or hostile or challenging kind of thing. It is sharing your story. And I believe that there is a series in Veterans with PTSD. I met a state legislature. I've been talking a while. You'd think I could do this right. I met a state legislator in Kansas during a rally that was at the state capitol. I interviewed him, and later at the rally we were talking about different things about fentanyl. It was a fentanyl-related rally, and someone had mentioned to me that he was particularly passionate about PTSD and suicide among vets. And so I brought that up, and I told him how that seemed like that could be a good series for our channel. And while he and I talked about that, he started to cry. He was very passionate about that. And so I'm not a veteran, and I don't really know the best pathway to develop a series like that for our channel. So we need help to focus on something like that. I'm not in recovery either. We can work fine with content that we learn as we go, much like we have with fentanyl and how we have with cannabis-induced psychosis and how we have with with other topics like addiction recovery and domestic violence and human trafficking, all of that. But having someone to help us get started, get a few stories out there. That I think would be powerful. Now, I don't know, Poodle Mom, I don't know if you saw the premiere, but the doctor talks about cannabis being used as a treatment for PTSD, saying that actually the reverse is true. And that's what she said. That doesn't mean it's absolute or that it's even accurate. It's just what she said. Poodle Mom says it would be a great series, might be helping for my son-in-law. He suffers so fully disabled because of it. There isn't any help for vets with PTSD. Camp Hope is about drug addiction, not PTSD. Funny thing about that, for it to be about drug addiction and not be about PTSD, they're connected. Not everyone who has an addiction has PTSD. And not everyone with PTSD has an addiction. But there is tons of overlap. You can't exclude one or shouldn't. That bugs me. Camp Hope. That's the first I've heard of Camp Hope, but a facility that is about drug addiction that doesn't address PTSD isn't really addressing the problem. That's like having a recovery center that only treats opioid addiction. The substance doesn't really matter. It's not it doesn't matter whether it's opioids or alcohol or something else. It's the addiction. People hop from substance to substance while in addiction all the time. We created a documentary about synthetic cannabinoids back in 2017 or so, and we interviewed several homeless people who were synthetic cannabinoid users. Synthetic cannabinoids, that's like Spice, K2, Kush, Fake Bake. We interviewed those users who were living on the street, and a couple of them were saying positive things about it. And they said, one of the things that they said is, it helped me quit alcohol. As if that was a big deal. It doesn't, if you switch from one substance to another, you're not addressing the addiction. Which is part of what makes that term California sober. That's nonsense. Kimberly says, I had PTSD since I was in my 20s. Yeah, PTSD is certainly a thing. It can be quite a challenge to deal with and quite difficult to get beyond. But the real key is that you have to solve the problem. You can't just pile on to make it go away. You have to address the core issue of the problem. You can't. I heard a recovery specialist explain about dealing with trauma, because trauma is often at the root of an addiction, a disorder like that. And he says you can't fix the trauma by adding stuff. If you have a glass and it's got pee in it, you can add all the sugar you want, but that's not going to change what's wrong with that glass. Same thing about Brad. What I miss? I didn't jump over it, Brad. I miss stuff because I'm not paying attention, but you let me know. So, okay, let me catch up. Let me go say, are you talking about the 5-year plan? Well, what should I say about the 5-year plan? Is that like, I don't think I missed much. So Carla's okay. It would be a great series. I think it would be a great series. Let me see what else. They are connected. It is a year commitment. He left because it was all about overcoming addiction, not how to help his PTSD. I think for a lot of people, the PTSD thing is an abstract thing that is harder. Wait. I got to check. No. All right. So I think it's a harder thing to wrap your head around if you haven't been through it, or you're not going through it. It's a harder thing to get your head around. Harder than addiction, even. Brad, if you remember the 5-year plan. Of course I remember the 5-year plan. Hey, Carla. Kristen has CPSD. I don't know what that stands for. From blood family trauma and people's physical violence against her. Brad, what was your veteran statement? I missed it. Just tell me again. Okay, let me see what else we got here. When I was using cannabis, I thought it would help. That it makes sense to think that, because there is a lot of information out there. There's a lot of champions out there for cannabis who say it does help. And it may. We are early on in this journey, and I haven't learned enough to commit enough to say with certainty that it does not. But I know that Catherine Anley, the doctor in the premiere that just happened, she cited a lot of research that indicates it doesn't help. She provided web links, which is in the description. You can get to her organization's website, Complex PTSD. Okay. Thank you, Kristen. So what other kind of questions do we have? We have some new people here, I think. I'm guessing not many of them are the ones that are just Facebook keyboard warriors who will challenge a promotion without knowing anything about the content. I guess they won't come here and interact with us. We're right here. Let's. Oh, look, I got a message for. I got a message from the doctor, from Dr. Antley, our storyteller. She was just saying thank you for letting her see it, letting her see advance copies, which we typically do. I said veterans got the shaft for the most part. VA hospitals are horrible. Yeah, I've heard that about VA hospitals before. I've been to VA hospitals. They seem. You get a kind of a general sense that they're under-equipped. But I'm not qualified to evaluate how equipped a hospital is. But that's just the sense that I get. Kristen says, I was vomiting today and I ate breakfast and lunch and then smoked some weed after I was crying because my dad has not returned my phone call for 4 months. Wow. Kristen, what's going on there? I don't really know how to address that. That hasn't returned my phone call for 4 months. That's terrible. Kristen says, I love you, Glenn, and Texas Pictures. I have learned so much from watching this channel. Thank you, Kristen. That's a wonderful thing to share. Poodle Mom. I agree, Brad. It is so wrong. We should treat them the best. I think it's simpler than that. We should, as employers, we, the United States, should deliver to the people we employ, like veterans, the services that they were promised by we, the United States. It's really that simple. Axel Solace. Thank you for, I don't, it doesn't seem like I've seen your name before. That doesn't mean much. I struggle with names, I guess. Maybe I have, it seems vaguely familiar, but it's been a while maybe. I'm not sure, but thank you very much for being here and for commenting. The comments, it keeps us talking. Brad says Carla and I should be in D.C., but with the government shutdown, I figured it wouldn't be worth it. Yeah, between the government shutdown and that whole No Kings thing, I don't know. I don't think anything went terribly wrong with anything during the event. It seems like I know there was some. Holy cow! No, Brad. There's coffee. So. I don't know. I doubt anyone who's in the group here was at the rally. I kind of had the news playing up there. And so I'm hoping that maybe I'll see something about the rally, but I'm a little bit skeptical. It looked like from the things that I saw on Facebook and other social media, it seemed like it was a pretty big success. There was a lot of speakers. Kristen says, my dad is a captain in the Army. He was a face surgeon during Vietnam, being only 22 years old, stationed in Germany. I love my dad. He is still drinking alcohol and smoking cigars. I don't use street drugs. You're on the good path. So, there we go. Okay, sorry. That's a tough story about your dad. But holy cow, it's kind of an adventure too. Imagine the kind of commitment and courage and focus it took to be doing that during the Vietnam War. So who else is with us here? Who else? Anybody else who might you watched the cannabis series with the doctor? Yeah, there's actually two stories in the cannabis series that involve storytellers that are doctors. One is an ER physician, and one is a GP. And they both have their own perspective on cannabis-induced psychosis and the risks of cannabis in general. And they both have great insight. They're very complementary. And so, yeah, it's very, very useful stuff. We have, in our cannabis-induced psychosis series, we have 3 physicians as storytellers now. The cannabis series is educationally spectacular. Now, I agree. Here's the thing, it's educationally spectacular to me too. That this is not, it is not something that I am particularly familiar with. I know what I've heard from people who like to use it. But aside from that, I don't know. Axel asks, where is the series found? The series is on our channel. It's in our playlists. And if you give me just a second, I can add a link to the chat that will get you there. I'm pretty sure. There it is. So I'm hoping most of the people that are in this live event are familiar with our channel enough to know the other topics that we address. There is the link for cannabis-induced psychosis. That'll take you to the playlist. And that reminds me that I should probably update the playlist to include the story that just premiered. And okay, it's also identified as a podcast, which is something that happened automatically on YouTube. It's not something we don't pursue our we don't develop podcasts as podcasts. It just has worked out that way that YouTube has automatically switched it. So we do sometimes get behind with moving our stories to the correct playlist once they premiere. We're trying to do better at that. And so I kind of just went and fixed that on quite a few. Maybe you didn't find your favorite strain on cannabis. One thing that's standing out to me from the people that we've talked to is that there is no consistency in the cannabis products that are out there. But with gummies, the percentage of THC can vary a lot within what is regulated. Even there is a range for error. For the plant itself, same thing. Much of the marijuana farms that are in the United States actually belong to China, which it's kind of oddly funny to me. Axel says, yes, normally I watch personal stories featured on your channel. And most of the cannabis stories are like that as well. They're personal stories. They're family members sharing their experience with their loved one, or they're directly from someone who's been through psychosis or through getting over a cannabis use disorder, dealing with that addiction, and are now in recovery. I know unhoused lady that was given some fentanyl, and I haven't seen her. Well, that sounds, Kimberly, that sounds pretty scary. It does. So it is Saturday night. Maybe the reason we don't see Brenda here is because she's out having a good time. Maybe she's, I don't know, dancing. I don't know. Wow. So I am out of coffee and close to being out of water as well. So it's probably going to be about time to wrap things up here. Since Brenda is not here, I will share with you guys the message that Brenda always delivers for us about the time we wrap things up when we're doing a live event like this. Brenda always says, remember, what you take for granted, someone else is praying for. I think that's such a wonderfully powerful statement, and such an important thing to just kind of have in your head all the time. Gratitude. being grateful for where you are at tends to bring more things to be grateful for. It just works out that way. You attract what you dwell on. So I want to thank all you folks for being here. I'm sorry we didn't hear from any cannabis defenders. That would have been great. Yes, Nux. I'm gonna email Nux tonight because I keep forgetting. I get all tied up with crazy stuff, wondering why I have this youthful appearance. And so I will email her tonight and see how things are with her. Yes, Brad. Yes, they're trophies. They're called Telly Awards. Sort of like industrial versions of an Emmy Award or something, I suppose. But anyway, I want to thank you all for being here, and we will visit more next time. I'm not sure if we'll be live tomorrow yet or not for the premiere of part 2 of this 3-part series with Dr. Antley about the science with cannabis-induced psychosis. But I want to thank you all for being here. And, you know, as always, I like to remind everyone that you are very welcome to reach out to us at any time. So you can reach us by email at info@texas-pictures.com. You can find us on Facebook by my name, Glenn Muse, or by the company name, Texas Pictures. And you can also visit our website, texas-pictures.com, where you can find information like how to go about sharing your story with us on our channel, how to organize a storytelling summit in your area. There is a link to our merchandise store, it is a service that we provide to because people have asked for it. And you can also learn more information about us, like there's a phone number and mailing address and all kinds of other stuff. So thank you very much for joining us, everyone, and we will talk more next time. So good night.